Okay, so today's video is going to be a review on Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Lightning Thief. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was amazing. I loved all the themes. I love everything about it, and today I'm going to be talking about what happened and why I recommend it. So, yeah, for the non-spoiler section of this review, I have a summary. So basically, this story is about a kid called Percy Jackson, and he discovers that he is a half-blood. So one of his parents is a god from Olympus, and the other is a mortal, a human. And he discovers so many things about himself, and things that before he thought were normal, but now he's been brought into this crazy world where Greek myths are real, and he embarks on a journey, on a quest, in which he has, in which he develops bonds with his fellow campers. When I mean campers, Percy is brought, when he discovers who he is brought to Camp Half-Blood, and Camp Half-Blood is consists of people like him, and he meets them, and yeah, he embarks on a quest where he discovers more and more about this world and about himself. So yeah, this book fuses Greek mythology with modern times, and it's a refreshing take on old stories. So yeah, I recommend this book to anyone because it deals with a lot of things some kids go through, and it covers themes that some kids go through, and as well as Percy, he has ADHD and dyslexia, and so throughout the book that is explored, and it's important to see characters that have these, not disorders, but yeah, it's that have these things and how they deal with them. And yeah, I recommend it to anyone, especially if you love Greek mythology. So yeah, now for the spoiler section of this review. So first of all, we're gonna start with characters. I don't have a favorite character because I loved all of them. Each had their own qualities. We have Percy, our main character, who we see everything through his eyes. His discovery of this world, of dealing with the fact that he's a half-blood, of being his confusion and his mixed feelings on whether he should resent his father or love him because he's alive. He thought he was dead, and he goes through all these complex emotions throughout the quest, and we see action, and we see him be the person he needs to become. We see him become a hero, so that is pretty amazing. And then we have his friends. We have our main character girl, our main girl, Annabeth Chase. And she's also a half-blood, and she deals with family issues as well. She has been in this world. She's known about this world for longer than Percy, and she's used to it, but at the same time, it's the first time she goes out into the world in a really long time to explore the different places, and it's exciting for her. And it's interesting because one of my favorite things about both of these characters is how they're not really friends at the beginning, they're acquaintances, but then they become true friends. And it's interesting because their parents, spoiler alert, this is the spoiler section, so if you don't want to continue. Annabeth's god, mother who's a god, is Athena, and for Percy it's Poseidon. And Athena and Poseidon have had a rivalry, and they even Annabeth even like talks about the subject and why she's like, I don't really know if I should be your friend or anything. And I like how they truly develop a friendship, and I think that's pretty awesome. And then we have Grover, who is our satire. I'm gonna say satire for now. I should look that up though. But yeah, Grover is an interesting character because he's shy, he's a bit scared of what's out in the world, but he has big dreams that he wants to accomplish, and to do that he has to face his fears. And he's like the eco-friendly guy. He cares about this world, and he has a nice friendship with Percy. He's always there. And for Percy and Grover, it's like they knew each other before Camp Half-Blood, and so it was like for Percy, he helped him in a way, and it was at least nice for him to have a friend there. So yeah. And then we have Luke Castellan, and yeah, Luke is, we didn't see much of him during the quest. We saw him at the beginning of the book when Percy was still discovering Camp Half-Blood, and by the end when we saw his betrayal. And it's like, if I spoiled myself before reading this book, so I kind of knew what happened, because I was researching Percy Jackson. But anyways, it's interesting to see how we see one side of him and then we see another, and it's like he has this idea, but I don't think he has thought it through, and he is like, he's a complex character. I'm excited to see if he is truly, that guy, that evil guy, or just I'm just excited to see his development in the next book. So yeah, I don't have much to say about Luke. Anyways, talking about the adults, I think now, yes, we have Chiron, who is our mentor. He is a centaur, and he's trying to teach Percy, but at the same time, how some mentors are like giving them lessons, but they're not quite exact or clear, and it's like that with Chiron. And then we have Mr. D, who is Dionysius, and he's doesn't really care much for kids. He's not really excited about being in charge of Camp Half-Blood, but yeah. And then we have Sally and Poseidon, and yeah, Sally's a great mom. She does anything to protect her son, which is the qualities a mother should have. And then you have Poseidon, who is conflicted because Percy wasn't supposed to be born. Poseidon wasn't supposed to have children, because of his vow to his brothers. And he really is like, should I be proud of Percy, or should I? But it's like he's conflicted. Like, he's proud of Percy, but at the same time, it's like he shouldn't have been born. So, and even Percy feels like that. Their relationship is quite complex because it's like they care for each other, but they can't really talk or express themselves because they can't really interact. But one of my favorite parts of this book is when Poseidon talks to Percy at the end, and he says, "You are a true son of the sea god," or something like that. I really like that because in a way he's expressing how proud he is of Percy. So yeah. Anyways, those are my character analysis. I liked all of them. They each played an important part. And yeah, I loved, you know how in Harry Potter there's the Golden Trio, you know, we have Hermione, Ron, and Harry, and then we have, in this one, another one, we have our, you know, Percy Jackson has its own trio, Grover, and Percy and Annabeth, so yeah, I really like seeing that. I love their interactions and how their friendship grew over the book, so yeah. For me, the characters really felt real because they expressed their emotions, and talking about, you know, important scenes in the book, the writing, I think it was done amazing. You know, Rick Riordan wrote an amazing book. The characters were experiencing, you know, real thoughts and real emotions, and when they had these deep conversations, you were like, oh, and like you could really feel it, and you could really feel a connection to them. So yeah, I really like the writing. I don't have a particular favorite book, favorite part of the book, but I do like the last part where you know, Poseidon and Percy talk, and I also like all the parts where Percy and Annabeth bicker, tease. I love that. I don't know. I really like when the main characters tease each other or bicker. I just find it so entertaining. So yeah. And yeah, plot-wise, the book is, I think, it has an intriguing plot, because it, as I said before, this book fuses Greek mythology and you know, the modern world, and it's nice to see how they incorporate characters from, you know, from the stories into this. Like, for example, Medusa, and how they bring up the situation, the rival, how Poseidon brought her into the temple, or the whole mess with Athena. And you know, we also have interactions with Ares, and you know, the relationship between Ares and Aphrodite is acknowledged, and how Hephaestus is also involved in this love triangle, I guess. So yeah, pretty interesting. I really like that, and one of my favorite things, and one of the things that this series differs from Harry Potter, how it differs from Harry Potter, is that in Harry Potter we have wands and we have spells, but in this one it's its own. It has its own action sequences. It, you know, the fights are sword to sword and more close combat, which I really liked. It was an interesting approach. So yeah, and then we also have the moments where Percy also has his connection to the water, how he uses his connection to the sea, to the water, to help him during those battles. So yeah, and talking about themes, we have Percy has ADHD and dyslexia, and it's interesting to see that in a character, and how I think Rick Riordan did, you know, the writing, and how Percy, when when we see the parts where Percy is reading and he's like, oh, I can't concentrate, or I'm confusing things, or I can't read. It's like things that really happened to people who have this condition, this disorder. I know this because I have a brother who has dyslexia, and I've seen him struggle, and how he confuses sometimes words that are really similar. So, and it's like, it's very accurate on, you know, how Percy's experiencing all of this. So yeah, I liked how, and I also liked how they incorporated or meshed or connected those ADHD and dyslexia to how he to like being a half-blood. You know, dyslexia is because of the brains of half-bloods are wired to read ancient Greek, and ADHD is basically their battle reflexes, and it's interesting to see how they incorporated that into the story and made it part of the story. And yeah, it's really interesting, and I loved how how he wrote the whole thing. So yeah. Anyways, those were all my comments on the plot, on the characters, and yeah, I would give this book a 5-star rating because it was so interesting, and when I read it, it was like a page turner. I felt a rush I haven't felt in a while when reading the book. Like, I wanted to know what happened. I wanted to know how the story unfolded, and it was like this amazing feeling that I hadn't felt in a while. And you know, that's how for me, I know a book is amazing or good or incredible because I feel that rush, and when I feel that rush, I'm like, this is an incredible book, and I know it's amazing, and it's a 5-star book. So yeah, I really enjoyed the book. For me, it's a 5-star book, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I would definitely recommend this book to anyone. I hope you try it out, and I would love to hear what you thought of it, if you enjoyed it, in the comments below. So yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.